Hello and welcome back, and today I want to show you guys just how easy it is to set up an Asustor NAS. We're using the brand new Nimbustor 4 and it is that great 4-bay NAS that they just released that features 2.5 GBE as well as that Gemini Lake CPU. But what we're doing in this video is setting the device up for the first time, and I'm going to be doing a series of videos after this about just what you can do with an Asustor NAS in 2019 and 2020. But let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need to do is download the Asustor Control Center. You don't strictly need to do this, you just need to know the IP of the device you're using. But for people that have never utilized this kind of device before and they're not too familiar with IP networks, what you need to do is head over to the Asustor website, go to the download section and find the Asustor tool, the Control Center for your OS. If you're a Windows user, it's right here, or if you're a Mac user, right there at the bottom, you've got the Mac apps and then you've got the Control Center for Mac. Download it from your respective region, and once you've installed it, you can open it up and it will scan your local area network. Now, make sure that you've got the NAS up and running, you've got at least one hard drive or SSD inside, and you've connected the device to your local area network. That is to say that it's connected to the router or switch that the PC that you're using right now is on. Make sure all the devices are using the same internet connection. That is otherwise known as the network. I know that's a caveman way to put it and it's technically incorrect, but just take my word for it. Once you've got the device connected and you've turned it on for a couple of minutes, you'll hear a beep. And from there, you'll see, once you scan the area network, clicking here, that the NAS will appear on screen like this. Head over to here and click Uninitialized. From here, it will open up your web browser, in my case Chrome, and it will scan that local area network once again, and it will find the NAS. This is the IP of my NAS, but the IP of the NAS in your home or business environment will change because your network is different. Now, you can go for a one-click setup or a custom setup. During the custom setup, you can set things up like a dynamic or static IP, as well as different kinds of storage values. So we're not going to go for that, we're just going to go for the one-click setup today. And from here, we've got the name of the server. So I'm going to rename this to Nimbustor 4. Mind you, we can't leave a space, so we'll just leave it Nimbustor 4. Our user account name we're going to do as admin. Now remember, this is going to be the admin account that has all the privileges, so you might want to change that, but you don't have to. Then give yourself a password. And then from here, say how do you want your data storage requirements in the device to be? Do you want maximum capacity because they can all be added together, or a balanced system of different storage values? Now, I've only got the one hard drive inside here, but if you've got multiple hard drives, you will be able to select RAID options. Also, you'll get the choice whether you want to use BTRFS or ext4. Me personally, I would go for BTRFS because of its much more improved snapshot generation in the background without system resources, as well as background integrity checks and file self-healing. So I'm going to click yes. It will tell you about the maximum storage capacity. I've got one 14 terabyte drive inside here along with a SSD, and what we can do here is then you can flick between the different options and they will change the different storage values. I'm going to click confirm and then move to the next screen, and from here it's going to start generating this NAS ready to go. So I'm going to leave this, I'm going to fast forward just a few minutes to the completion of this initial installation. This should be done very shortly. Right, so the first part of the installation is complete, and now the device is asking us if we want to register our NAS with an Asustor ID. Now, if you want to set it up so you can access your NAS not only over the network, but over the internet anywhere in the world, you will need to complete this area in order to correctly set up the DLNA and allow you to have worldwide access to this NAS. For now, I'm going to skip this as I'm only going to be interested today in network access. After this step, the device is asking if we'd like to install certain applications, whether we want to set the device up for home or business use. So for now, I'm going to set it up to have both, and it will install all the relevant packages related to them both. We click to the next step, and from here, the device is just asking us to continue our installation and thank us for using an Asustor. From this point now, the NAS will begin to install applications. It's got the very latest version of ADM, one would assume, seeing as it's got it from the online source, and moreover from that, the device is going to be installing applications in the background. So here is our Asustor Nimbustor 4 desktop interface. Here we have here. Now, once we've got the device set up for the first time, there's a number of things we can do, and I will go into a lot more detail in future videos. If you want to install more applications, head over to the App Center, where from here you can install applications one by one that are relevant to how you want to use your NAS. At the moment, it's installing applications one by one that allow us to utilize applications for home and business use. At the moment, Asustor Portal, we have an entire video dedicated to this one subject, as this is an HDMI enabled NAS, and this allows us to install applications via the HDMI enabled graphical user interface. But there are still loads of applications readily available to us on the ADM platform. A lot of them first party, a lot of them third party, and a lot of them in beta or built via community collaboration. There's beta applications as well, but the majority of these do seem to be more Eastern based. And of course, there's the whole list of Asustor applications that they recommend to utilize on your device. For a future video, I'd like to touch on Plex. So let's install the Plex Media Server application. It will ask us if we want to set up port forwarding, which of course we will, and we will click next, and it's as simple as that. The application is now being installed in the background. In the meantime, oh, wrong one there. In the meantime, we can make our way to the other options available to us. Here from the access control, we can add individual users and groups with their own privileges and file access on the NAS. We can have the activity monitor that will detail exactly what the NAS is doing at any given time with regards to CPU, memory, network, and more. On top of that, you've got options such as the storage manager that will allow us to build our RAID configurations if we have multiple drives. Backup and restore will allow us to do different operations to the NAS that may be a little bit more permanent, and set up instances of where we can revert the NAS to an earlier point. External devices will allow us to connect USB drives and more. And of course, Easy Sync Manager is where we can synchronize this device with other devices for backing up phones, tablets, and more. As the applications, as you can see here, get installed, they'll appear here on the desktop interface. There's Plex, there's Asustor, and it really is as straightforward as that. The File Explorer lets us manage our files on a file folder level, and Snapshot Center will allow us to create system images or just simple volume only or folder only images that can be kept over a period of time and allow us to restore a file to a previous version. The settings system will give us loads of information about how we can configure our device, change network settings, change system settings with regards to power consumption, temperatures with the fan utility, and more. You can set the device up to have wake on LAN, as well as have areas where the times of day where the device is scheduled to be on a lower power consuming system. On top of that, with the device itself, there are loads of other configuration options going forward. I will be doing a full software overview of this device very shortly, along with individual app overviews, and I do recommend you check those out. But otherwise, this has been how to set up your Asustor NAS for the very first time. It's straightforward, it's easy, and incredibly fast. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and don't forget to click like and subscribe to see more on Asustor NAS and indeed the entire world of NAS storage. Cheerio!